What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Commentary for you. I want to thank everyone that's enjoyed the Orioles recaps. Wanted to change it up a little bit today. Orioles have an away game, so they have the day off until they get to Pittsburgh tomorrow. Wanted to go over some real baseball for a change. Before I do that, though, want to thank my sponsor, Steel Supplements. Link and discount code down in the description. You also see my Glance LED. And while I'm playing through the show this year with my own Orioles franchise, I'm constantly being kept up to date with everything going on MLB, NBA, NHL, when the season starts, NFL. It's really nice to have no subscription fees with this unit and constantly know what's going on in and around the world of sports or just the weather. Hopefully, it's going to stop raining here, threaten the games all weekend in Baltimore, as well as stocks, news, whatever you want. It is there for you. I will put a link in the pinned comment where you can save 10% off a glance of your own. Now, let me also just say, I like Austin Hayes a lot. I've met the guy. I've got a game worn jersey, bat, cleats. Had him sign a ball that he caught off Otani last season. He wears the number 21. Look at my channel, right? There's no reason that I wouldn't like Austin Hayes. But we have to talk about where he is on this team because he comes in last night, 18 at bats, 2 hits, 1 RBI. Now, granted, it's not all negative. He did have 3 walks. That's a positive, but his batting average was 111. His OPS was 349. And yes, I get it. It's abysmal. It's 5 games, okay? But to me, in those games, the 6 strikeouts are extremely telling. And when we look at those numbers and we average them out, he is on pace to be absolute bottom of his stats in terms of production. And I'm not going to sit here and project that all you need to do is just multiply the numbers to get, a 20 game average. All you need to do is multiply things to get the 60 at bats he had in his rookie season, where he only struck out 16 times. And in 18 at bats current year, he struck out 6. So if we look at it that way, his first season, he was on pace to strike out every 10 appearances. His current season, he's on pace to strike out every 3. That's a strikeout per game. And we're going to talk about one of those strikeouts because this right here was a crucial moment. The Orioles were looking to come back. Now, ultimately, they did. So moments like this can get kind of overlooked. But it's 3-0. It's the bottom of the 7th. MacArthur is on his second pitch. Hayes represents the tying run. He's batting 6, so it's basically the bottom of the order. He elects to watch the first pitch, which is fine. Listen, MacArthur is not a fastball guy. You want to better understand the speed, the movement, get your timing down. If maybe you didn't do that in the box, I get it. However, he's not this impossible guy to hit. He's not this, stud left-hander. He's an above average guy that relies on movement. It's nothing Hayes hasn't seen or should expect in some capacity. So pitch 1, 86 miles an hour, right at the knees. Watches it go past. Strike. Pitch 2, very much same speed and movement for that matter. It's only slightly higher and inside. Now, with this, Hayes elects to swing. Now, had he stared at this one, it's close. Maybe could have went down as a ball instead of a strike because it was moving away from the plate. It wasn't framed particularly well. So you could make the case this would have been the better pitch of the 2 to stare at. But now, regardless, we're down 2 pitches. The third pitch. Now, this pitch is actually in the dirt, well out of the strike zone, and he elects to chase it despite it being completely off the plate. So to me, that shows the second pitch, whether it was a ball or not is regardless, because he was going to chase it no matter what. We know the third pitch was a ball, absolutely. It was in the dirt. He was chasing that no matter what. These are the things that you can't have happen. You can't let go of a moment like this in such a way. I guess you could make the case, well, it's good that he went down swinging, but at the same time, he was swinging at balls he was never going to hit. And even if he did, particularly the second pitch on the inside, it's very likely that it wasn't going to be a position where you were going to score. You already had 2 outs. You were probably just going to either break your bat or pop up the ball. You have to play smarter in situations like this. And as a veteran, as a leader, that is what's expected of you. Not to leave two runners stranded, look entirely ill prepared, not understand the pitch mix, and be trigger happy on swings that you didn't need to take. And the problem for this is actually twofold. First, it compounds an already poor season, but he also has tons of pressure from behind him in the organization. And I understand that you can't really sit here and talk about Orioles prospects without talking about Jackson Holliday, who right now is on fire. He's leading off, hitting homers at will practically, 2 in the last 4 games. But to me, it's more Heston Kjerstad, who homered twice for a club record 10 RBIs last night, 10 RBIs, and Kyle Stowers, who hit 3 home runs again. The 2 of them last night, and I understand it's not Major League Baseball, but the 2 of them last night combined for 17 RBIs. Now, they've both been called up before. They both had mildly successful stints. I would say Kjerstad, obviously, if we go to last year, much better performing of the 2. As I mentioned yesterday, it seems like Jorge Mateo has kind of taken the utility role that Ryan McKenna once had. So Mateo isn't going to have that plate production to fill the role that McKenna had. So I don't expect him to ever be in a position to go and take what Hayes has. To me, right now, if I look at it on paper, Kjerstad honestly seems to be the better fit for playing the corner, if that's what you want him to do, and fully take over the role. But Kyle Stowers has had an electric spring. I mean, there was a lot of people, myself included, that thought he was going to make the opening day roster. He had 3 home runs in a spring training game. He has the far superior power of the 2, and right now, that's what's lacking the most with the Orioles over the last 3 to 5 games is you just don't have a lot of power unless you're coming out of the way of Ryan Mountcastle, Anthony Santander. I think if you don't call one of them up, at some point, one of them is going to be a trade piece, and I would think it would probably be Stowers before it's Kjerstad. But even then, I think Kjerstad is probably the long-term solution, even if Austin Hayes can get things turned around. But the reality is he needs to get things turned around a lot quicker than before, because I feel like when you look at where this team's going and what this team needs, the leash on all of these players we've seen has gotten tighter and tighter. Ryan McKenna was a utility guy on this team for years. We saw the leash get pulled. We'll see how things go with the bullpen. I'm a big Mike Baumann fan, but I don't know if he's going to continue to stay. He also kind of got reined in last year. Danny Colomé, Yennier Cano have kind of set the standard of what the expectation is coming out of the pen. But at the same time, I think holistically, when you have a team that is starting to struggle, starting to not meet expectations, not just from the fan base, but also from the front office, when they need to make a change, there isn't going to be a whole lot of leeway like there was when we were having massive losing seasons where no one really cared because the bar was so low. And I said it in many videos this year. I certainly feel like, unfortunately, because I am a fan, Austin Hayes is going to be the first player that we kind of see that we looked at as a veteran, looked at as someone that kind of went through the bad times, had an all-star season last year. We all love that for him. But when the production isn't there, it's going to be next man up right away because you're not meeting the obligation the team has to winning right now. When you go out, you get a guy like Corbin Burnes. You're not getting Corbin Burnes for a single year because you don't want to win right now. Love to know your guys' thoughts on this. Appreciate you watching it. I will be back tomorrow with more commentary.